Hello and welcome to the Jeff Ahern Show. As always, covering the news of the week. This week, as always, plenty of news. There's been a lot. I'm just kind of looking over here. I've got my stream up to talk about stuff. So let's start with the beginning. I'm going to start off with Fox News because they always have some good stuff on here. And one of the top pieces, and I just did a story on this last night. Let me start with the story I did last night. I did this for JeffAhern.com. I did it for my Patreon. And I'm actually on Rumble now. Thank you, Rumble, by the way, for featuring me. They're putting me in a lot of their, high visibility areas. So I want to say thank you to the good people of Rumble. If you haven't followed me yet at Rumble, do follow me there too. It's a Jeff Ahern, one word. Got to squash it together. JEFFAHERN. And it's on Rumble and it's picking up steam. So check me out there as well. But yeah, so my piece I did yesterday was on OPEC and Biden trying desperately to get OPEC to not cut output. And OPEC is cutting output because OPEC is, greedy and they want to make money. And so what they're going to do, they know we're between a rock and a hard place. Basically, we're between Biden and common sense. And so they're going to cut supply, thereby increasing their profit margin and making them a lot more money. Now, Karine Jean-Pierre is saying, oh, they're doing this, they're aligning themselves with Russia. No, they want to make money. This is a great opportunity to make money. We have this buffoon in the White House. When are you ever going to have a better time to cash in than when Joe Biden is at the helm? This is why this is the time. If you want to go invade a country, you invade a country. If you want to, extort a country with oil, then you extort us with oil. And you extort because the man in charge is so feeble-minded. I mean, you're never going to have a better patsy, a better guy at the top to take advantage of than Joe Biden. So everybody's doing it. OPEC's piling on too, and Biden has no one to blame but himself. And I mean, if you don't think that, it's hard to help you. But we'll go over it again for you, just so you understand. This is all intentional. Fuel prices were rising well before Russia ever went into Ukraine, well before, the whole OPEC thing. And again, the only reason Biden cares about the OPEC thing now, he doesn't care if the prices go up. He wants them to go up. He wants people to be forced into buying electric vehicles. And I don't have a problem with buying electric vehicles. I like electric vehicles, but let the free market decide. I don't want Joe Biden and the Democrat Party forcing me into it, because what happens is you start getting fuel shortages, because the way they force you into it is by restricting the flow of gas, thereby increasing the price, thereby making electric seem affordable by comparison. Still not very affordable. $60K on average for an electric vehicle. You're going to go out and buy one now that gas is up around $7 a gallon with this latest OPEC cuts. And Biden's only problem is it's going to probably hit right before November elections. See, if it had happened after, which is what he wanted to do, he's like, hey, look, I know you're going to jack the prices up. I get that. That's fine with me. We want to push electric vehicles anyways. But if you could just hold off till after November 8th, that'd be swell. Fist bump. No, they're not going to do it. So here we are. But yeah, so day one, again, just to go over this with you, if you don't understand the concept of what Biden was doing here. Day one, he stopped dead in its tracks the Keystone Pipeline. That was his first day. Like, yeah, well, he's signing it with gusto. He was still, I think, even had a little more cognitive awareness back then, so he had a little flourish to his signature. Now he's just kind of like, put it in front of me, a little bit of drool, and so he was excited about it. He was excited about taking away our energy independence, specifically from fossil fuels. He didn't care about the jobs that were going to be lost. He didn't care that you were going to be paying more for gas because he wanted you to be paying more for gas. Then, in addition, his policies restrict drilling on our land and take away or make it more difficult to refine fuel when you can't get it out. So he's made it as hard as possible for us to extract the wealth right beneath our feet, because there's enough oil under our feet in this country that we could be completely energy independent. We would never have to pay the Russians a dime. We would never have to pay OPEC a dime. We could do everything we wanted. Fuel prices would be low. I mean, I won't say they would be low because the Democrats would tax them to death, but they would be manageable. But that's not the goal here. The goal here is to get us away from fossil fuels, not by free market economics, but by force, by appeasing the Green Party, by demanding that you get an electric vehicle. And the crazy thing is, you got places where I live, like in California, where you've got these electric vehicles that Newsom's like, hey, everybody, I want to have no gas cars in this state by, I think, 2035 was what he said. He didn't want any gas vehicles to be able to be sold in the state in 2035. But I know we're in 2022, but would you mind not charging your electric car? Because it's killing the grid. With the heat here. Yeah, with the heat here, we kind of need you to not charge your cars between 4 and 9. And it's not like, there's a lot of electric cars here, but there's not that many in, comparison to gas vehicles, in comparison to every single one of them being electric. So what happens when every single one of these vehicles is electric, like by 2035, let's say, or the majority of them? This grid's going to be crashing all the time. Government infrastructure is bad enough as it is. You're not going to be able to drive anywhere. You're going to have to give you out a skateboard or something, or a bicycle. You're going to have to work down the street, the local, grocery store. Not like they'll be getting any deliveries unless it's an electric truck or a diesel truck from another state. It's madness. It's absolute madness. It's completely avoidable, but it was also completely intentional on Biden's part to raise fuel prices. But what happened was they got raised a little quicker than he would have preferred. He wanted them jacked up. That's why he restricted supply. That's why he stopped drilling. That's why he gave people a hard time who wanted to refine more fuel. And then Russia invaded Ukraine because he's such a doofus. Why not? Why not? And so that jacked up fuel prices even more. So now Biden's like, hey, wow, people are really suffering now. Is this good? He doesn't know. And then he's and then OPEC's like, hey, he's only going to be in office for a couple more years, if that. Let's we better make some money too. And so now they're really going to go up. And this is with him trying to flood the market with the strategic reserve. I can't imagine he's got a lot of strategic reserve left, and even the amount he does isn't going to offset what's going on. So I wouldn't say look forward to it, but your fuel prices are going to be going up. They're going to be going right now where I am. We're looking around $6.20 at the cheap station, maybe about $6.05, but they tack on the credit card fee, so you're back up to $6.20. I can see that easily come winter, especially winter when people are using more fuel, though not as much in California. Prices going up, hitting $7 a gallon. It's nuts. And then people vote for this. It's crazy, and they vote for it because I'll get an electric vehicle, so much better for the environment. It'll end global. But the electric vehicle itself, again, I have no problem with electric vehicles, but I just say let it be determined whether you get one or don't get one by free market economics, by free will. I don't want the government telling me what to do, because usually the government's wrong. 9 times out of 10, the government's ideas for me are not something I would normally consider, and with good reason. And so I don't want to be forced to do something. And when you try to force people to do something that they don't want to do, and really, even if you wanted to go like, all right, today is the day. I'm getting rid of my gas car. I'm going to go down to a dealership and get an electric. What? How much is it? I can't afford that. It's the average price of an electric vehicle is $60,000. Most people can't afford that, Joe. It's like they have the goal, and then there's just no thought given to the consequences of getting to that goal in the manner in which they're attempting to do it, which is basically forcing you, crowbarring you into an electric car that you can't even afford to begin with. And then the media won't cover any of it, or they villainize anyone who speaks out against it. So it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. But on the plus side, there's always a plus side, right? Usually. Republicans, I feel, and I don't want to jinx it, are going to do extremely well this election, because people are just like, what the heck? Come on, man. Can you get one thing right? And right now the Democrats can't seem to get anything right, which brings us to January 6th. January 6th is their ace in the hole. How scary is that? That January 6th is the thing you got, all your money on. You're like, sure, we're ruining the economy. Crime's terrible. The no cash bail is just a train wreck. We defunded and villainized the police, and now they're afraid to do their jobs. And people, the streets aren't safe anymore. It's just inflation sky. All these horrible things. But we got January 6th, and January 6th, that was kind of relevant. It was relevant when it happened. And then by January 7th, you're already like, okay, what else is on the news? But the Democrats have been riding this for near 2 years now? This is it. And then now they're trying to get Trump. They're like, oh, well, time a Trump comment. Nobody cares. Even if you have Trump come, even if Trump agrees to come, nobody cares. I mean, people might tune in, like, oh, what's Trump going to say? Whatever. But they're looking at the fuel prices at the gas station down the street. They're wondering why their money can't get them groceries anymore. You know, and so they're riding. I said this in the piece I did. The January 6th is Democrats' little engine that couldn't, and they are riding this in. They're riding it off a cliff. And you know, as someone who's not a Democrat, more power to them. Oh man. Oh, Mark has a question, a sports question. I don't know enough about sports to answer, but I'll read the question. He said, "Why did Damon Green punch Poole? Any thoughts?" If I knew more about sports, my guess is Draymond got angry with something Poole did and took offense to it. I don't know. I need to know more about. Do I really need to know more about sports? I mean, I know enough. I feel like I know enough about sports. I know I know who Draymond Green is. I know about the punch, but I just it was one of those things I saw. I was like, okay, I'm going to continue on. And I didn't click on it. I'm sorry. I feel like this. I've let you down, Mark. Maybe Pelosi should punch Trump or vice versa. Well, see, Pelosi can punch Trump. That's allowed, but if punch Trump's Pelosi, that's an incident right there. That's trouble. Although I would pay for an MMA match between the two. I would go pay-per-view on that. They both agree to it. There's terms, you know. You can't know gouging, this, that. You know, let's see what happens. Yeah, I mean, the world we live in. How far off can that be? More stuff from Fox News. Rotten Tomatoes. It says anti-oil environmentalists pour soup on Van Gogh painting worth. All right, so they're anti-oil. You know, the people who are anti-oil. You know, a lot of oil goes into plastics and stuff. You know, and petroleum goes into a lot of products. You could look around their house. You're going to find a lot of stuff that is petroleum based. And I bet they don't want to get rid of it. They ride around on their bikes on tires that probably have petroleum in them. So Rotten. But one thing I've noticed, and this seems to be a trend, like the environmentalists are now coming out to sporting events and to just other events and causing trouble, gluing. They're big on gluing themselves to stuff for some reason. I don't know why. I hope the glue's biodegradable. And if it is, it probably doesn't work very well, which is why you can peel them off the floor real quick. But they also are very big on destroying art. What did art do to you? I mean, if you break it, if you're going to destroy art, break into some oil baron's home and throw oil on his paintings. There you go. Huh? There's some karma, right? I mean, leave the art. I want to go see some of these paintings. What are you ruining my time for? You don't like these oil people? Go to their house and mess up their paintings. But I will say this: I am so impressed really with the durability of these artworks, because it says here they threw this soup cans on Van Gogh painting worth millions. And yeah, the painting's fine. Like, wow, man. I don't know, what are they putting over these paintings? I mean, was there glass on it? That was the other thing. I think they attacked the Mona Lisa with a cake or something, and they got glass. And then the dirty little secret is half the time, or maybe more, these paintings aren't even the originals. They're just put them out there because they know idiots like these soup Nazis. That's Seinfeld. Like these soup throwing environmentalists are coming for them, and they don't want the originals to be destroyed. So as we're all paying, I don't know, what do you pay to get into a gallery? $25-$30. You're going around to see replicas. All the good stuff's in the basement. They can't leave the real stuff out because some nut job's going to come try and slice it or throw their lunch at it. But I guess as long as you don't know, as long as you think you're seeing the real thing, then okay. But my feeling is, I bet you more and more of these museums, when you go in and you think you're seeing an original Monet or Van Gogh or Dali or whatever it is, it's probably a fake. My goodness. Mark has another good idea. Kamala and Nikki Haley. I'm going to go see tonight at the Reagan Library, by the way. In an arm wrestle. I don't know. I like Kamala in that one. I prefer Nikki to Kamala any day, but in an arm wrestle, boy, I think Kamala's a beast. I think she's gonna take Nikki on that. I'm sorry. See, that seems a little more fair. Like Trump Pelosi, that just seems like a grotesque mismatch. Kamala, Nikki, I think you're more on the line. I'm not a big fan of her, but I'd say Liz Cheney probably be one hell of an arm wrestler. She's got the build for it. Urgh. Over the top. If you haven't seen it, kids, if you're not my age, which is old, really awful movie that's good. So bad it's good with it's how old I am. I can't remember who's in it. With Sylvester Stallone. It's an arm wrestling movie. It's terrible, but in a good way. Nah, probably in a bad way. Speaking of Kamala, she's also here. All talk, no action. Well, and when she's talking, you can't understand what she's saying anyways. But I mean, her word salads are just, they're to die for. Let's be honest. I mean, nobody throws together a word salad like Kamala Harris. You're like, what is she saying? Like, even the writers of Veep couldn't come up with what you got to get to the go. You got to get to the go. Oh, that's one of my favorites. All talk, no action from Kamala. This is the headline. Rancher on the front line of border crisis slams Harris. Yeah, she's not doing anything. The only people from the border she's seeing are the ones that are being dropped off in front of her house by Texas Governor Abbott. And more power to him. That's happening now too. Like in New York, there was an article. In New York, their schools are having trouble with the influx of migrants. And again, this is an insanely small proportion of migrants that are being bused to New York or Washington, compared to the thousands, crossing daily on the Texas border. And yet, the liberals' attitude is, oh, suck it up, Texas. You're all racist for not letting them all in. Meanwhile, their infrastructure, their schools, everything, their healthcare, everything is being just overwhelmed and crushed by this insane flow of migrants because there's zero security on the border. The border security. No, it's not. They now, comically, have cameras just because they're so tired of hearing people like the press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, be like, oh, the border's secure. It's not like people are just walking across. Yes, they are. So now they have cameras up so you can actually just watch people just walking across. That's what's happening. And it's purposeful. It's intentional. It's part of a voter drive for Democrats who are going to eat it come this November, but they're hoping, they're kind of backfilling so they can get them on the next election, just give them a lot of these states that just give you a license if you can walk in the door. They don't care if you're legal or illegal because they want you to vote and they want you to vote Democrat because then you're not going to get someone to vote Democrat as easily as you used to who lives in this country because they've seen the results of their governance. Now, granted, there's still a bunch of them are just like, ride or die Democrat, and I don't get that. But they ought to get at least a couple of elections out of these newbie immigrants coming in before they're like, oh, my God, things are terrible here. There's another party I can vote for. Why didn't you tell me about that sooner? What's my take on Herschel Walker? I like Herschel Walker as a big Cowboys fan. I don't know. He's done it to himself, It's a lot going on with Herschel Walker. I think he's running against Warnock. I'm not a fan of Warnock. I feel like that was, I don't know how he got elected in the first place. That was a little sus to me. But Walker has dug himself a hole in that, he's been so anti-abortion, I believe. And yet, if you believe what's true, and again, I don't believe it. Here's the problem. I'll hear something in the media, and it's normally the liberal media because they're much larger than the non-liberal version. And immediately I take it as a lie. I'm like, well, I'm not getting the full story. This is made up. I don't believe any of it. So, I mean, without being able to confirm any of it, my first instinct is it's probably made up just based on their history, just on their track record. But apparently what's happened is they've got like an ex-girlfriend or someone who said he made her get an abortion or told her to get an abortion, maybe one or two, something like that. So the hypocrisy level is very high, but still versus I think Warnock, I take Herschel Walker. Because again, I just don't trust the liberal media, and if they are giving me truth, it's probably a half truth at best, and I'll take a half truth Walker over Warnock any day. It's sad. Like, you want to make an intelligent decision. You want to make a decision, where you feel comfortable in the facts you're using to base your decision on. And because of the media, because of the fact that they just outright lie to you, that the fact that they are outright not trying to inform you, but guide you into a predetermined decision because they're not media, they're propagandists. And so you're like, well, where do I get my information from? And hopefully, I'm helping out in that regard. I do what I can with the information I'm given to give you what I think is a common sense assessment of it. But it gets harder and harder by the day to find places where you can get your source materials from that aren't corrupted in some way, that aren't agendized in some way. So when I look at a story, like I would have to for Herschel Walker, I'd have to back check multiple sources. And anytime you see a video on a liberal media site, almost always it's BS. They show you a tiny little clip, but you ever watch the whole thing? Like, oh my God, the guy was so guilty. They just show you the one part where he's getting hit by an officer. They don't show you the part where he had a bat and he was like smacking him a few times before the officer hit him back. And that gets to another point. Tulsi Gabbard is like, she's calling the Democrats out. I love it. And again, none of this is new. This is what we've all known, what we all say. But it's nice to hear, an ex-Democrat say it. And one of the points, and she really tore into the Democrat Party and just how vile and awful they are. One instance of it she was talking about was the fact that, and I say this all the time, and again, it's no secret. It's no secret, I don't know, people just seem to ignore it. Democrats maintain power. One of the ways they maintain power is by dividing people by race. They claim to be this party that's against racism, yet every decision they make, every policy they have, everything they do is solely based on the color of your skin. They're the most racist party in existence in this country, certainly. And so Tulsi called them out on that. And case in point, right under the story about Tulsi, I was looking at Yahoo News. I think it might have been an AP story that Yahoo put up. And it said right under that, see if I can remember. I can't remember the headline exactly. I did a news story on it. You can check that. It said, Gulfport police shoot black youth in head and kill him. That's the headline. So right away, I talk about, we're talking about Herschel Walker. They only give you half truths. They give you just a tiny bit to make you angry and to divide and to create friction between races. Because how horrible is that? So obviously there's more to the story. Obviously, the cop didn't just walk around. Oh, look, a black teenager popped, and then he's going to shoot him in the head. Stop. The fact that you would put that as a headline is so wrong. Because the sole purpose of a headline that is to incite anger and incite hate. In this case, directly at police, who have become targets of the left because they're vote getters for them. It's all the cops' fault. No, it isn't. The cops are one of the few buttresses to prevent the absolute anarchy in our cities. And to say any different is hogwash. Say hogwash. I was going to say something else, but hogwash is good. It's a better alternative. And so let's go into the story. So I click on it and I'm like, I know this is all crap. Let's see what it's got to say. So what happened was apparently these kids, they're all between I think 15 and 18. They were all minors, and they not all had guns. Maybe they did, but they were apparently got a 911 call. The police did that. They were all waving guns at passing motors. They were in their car, I guess. So the police, heaven forbid, they respond to a 911 call where people are waving guns around at motorists. They pulled them over in a dollar store parking lot, and apparently the deceased 15-year-old came out, with a gun, engaged an officer. He was shot. He was killed. And then you're like, okay, well now that's a lot of stuff that front headline doesn't address. And the parents are just like the parents of the kid who died are just like, we don't think he had a gun. They found, they said, several weapons. How it's not that big a car. How many kids you got in that car? Or maybe cars. And you find several weapons. What was he holding the bullets? Was that his job? Yeah, I don't deal with guns. I just hold bullets. I'm not a gun guy. I just hold the bullet. You want a bullet? I'll pass them out. The absurdity of it. And then they're like, well, we're waiting for the body cam. Good, wait for the body cam. It's not the absurdity that you just think a cop is going to just start popping people for no reason. And they know that it's absurd, and yet they put that headline up there. And why do they put the headline up there? Again, it goes back to the basics of what Tulsi was talking about just above there, to divide us by race, by vaccination status, anything they can use to divide us and have us fighting each other. Whoever's fighting each other, they don't care. As long as somebody's fighting somebody else, we're not paying attention to what they're doing to this country, which is ruining it. We're too busy fighting each other. And it's a brilliant strategy. It's worked incredibly well for them. But things have gotten so bad now at this point that even their divisiveness is no longer enough to save them. And it's going to hit them in November. And all they have, their ace in the hole, is January 6th, which nobody cares about. You cared about it January 6th, maybe slightly January 7th. By January 8th, you were over it. The media wasn't. They were January 6th, January 6th, January 6th. And they've been trying to keep us interested and no, nobody cares. Democrats don't care. Nobody's watching these hearings. They're hiring some ABC producer to make it all big television spectacle. Nobody cares. They're saving the Trump till the end. And now I finally understood, what was with it? And I feel like it was probably pretty illegal what the FBI did to Trump, because it was completely politically motivated. I don't feel like there was any other reason than they just wanted dirt on Trump. And they went on a fishing expedition. And I feel the proof of the pudding of that is that they now want to bring in Trump to the January 6th hearing. So clearly they had nothing on Trump. They're like, well, all part of the grand plan is we were going to bring him in right before the election, to try and swing the election, since nobody cares about January 6th anyway. And maybe Trump will make him care a little bit. So let's go raid his place. Maybe we get lucky, find something, and then we can use it there. Yeah, they got nothing. How many times have they gone after Trump? They've tried to impeach him twice. Really, they're trying to get him a third time right now. And they find nothing on him. The whole Russian collusion thing was made up. For 4 years, the liberal media did nothing but this whole Russian collusion dance, and it was all crap. It was all BS. They never apologized for it. I mean, it's nuts. They've been after him for now, 5 or 6? 5 years now. And for what? For what end? Because they have nothing else to talk about. He's an extension of January 6th. He's a distraction right now that the left wants you. The left's like, hey, remember when you really to their minions? Remember when you really hated Trump? Well, here he is. Hate him some more, and hate him enough right now that you'll vote for us again, even though he's no longer in office. Even though the fuel prices, the inflation, the wide open border, all of that are the result of him actually leaving office. You think fuel would be as expensive as it is if Trump was here? No, the Keystone Pipeline would be open. He'd be like, drill, drill, drill. We'd have plenty of oil. We'd be doing just fine. You think Putin would have invaded Ukraine with Trump here? Highly unlikely. Biden, of course. Why not? What's Biden going to do? Nothing. I couldn't even handle a withdrawal from Afghanistan. You think OPEC would be curtailing production? Guess what? We wouldn't care because we'd have our own oil. We don't even need it. Keep it. We're not going to pay you any money. Oh, in Russia, we're not going to pay you any money either. We got our own oil. And then if you want to go green, go green. Let the free market decide. When I say the free market, let yourself decide. Let you make a decision for yourself in your life, rather than being beholden to government and being told that you can't make any decisions without them. You buy into that, you're a registered Democrat. Don't do it. Don't do it. Join Tulsi. Get out. Man, yeah, it's crazy. It's just, I mean, but the good news is, with all this going on, even their little January 6th dog and pony show, nobody cares. And if that's the best they have, I mean, they are praying something drops. I don't know if they have something like November 7th, November 6th, they're going to drop something, some deep dish, some dirty secret on some Republican, that's hopefully going to swing it's not. It won't. And it shouldn't, because people are just sick and tired of living in a society where crime is rampant, where criminals are allowed to do whatever they want, where fuel prices are through the roof, where you don't know whether you're coming or going. And it's all because of those in power. And now that the Republicans haven't been in power, the Democrats control the Senate, they control the House. They have basically all the branches, except for judicial. So all this horrible economy, everything that's going south, all of this is on them. Republicans had no say in it. And even Democrats, and especially independents, can see that. They're like, well, yeah, we've been in charge. We can't blame Republicans. And, not all, some of them still have common sense and they can use reasoning ability. So maybe we vote for the party that isn't in power to make things better. The downside is once Republicans, and I really feel like Republicans are going to get back control of both the Senate and the House. The sad part is once things start getting better, and they will, not immediately, but as soon as we start enacting common sense policies, things will start getting better. And then as things get better, these Democrats or these fence, independents will be like, oh, things are better now. Let's go back to being woke. No, don't do it. Don't do it. It's just going to send us south again. All right, let me see. I'm almost done. I'm going to go to the Post real quick just to see what they have up. New York Post is my all-time favorite news source, by the way. I do enjoy them. Their headlines are usually pretty good. Check here. And I mean, I could go to the the liberal papers, the liberal news sources, but I guarantee you they're all going to be January 6th because they have nothing they can stand on. They have nothing good. They have no good economic news that they can tout. Like, look what the Democrats did. They did this. Isn't that doesn't exist? It doesn't exist. So it's all got to be January 6th. It's all got to be distractions. It's all, it's all got to be just nonsense. Let me check CNN real quick, just to confirm my suspicions. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe CNN will have an actual news piece and not January 6th is the lead story. Nope, lead story. January 6th panel, lead story. Again, they have nothing else they can talk about. And so they're talking about something nobody cares about. But in their arrogance, they're like, we're going to make people care. If we say it enough and we're so important, we'll just keep talking about January 6th and we're going to make them care. We're going to make it matter. No, nobody cares. It doesn't matter that you have Trump's opinion. None of it matters. You're going to lose. Sorry. January 6th panel subpoena wasn't the worst part of Trump's day. What do you know about Trump's day? Again, and the guy's not in office. Why? What does that even matter? Even if Trump has a good day or a bad, he's not in office. He's not running for anything. Distraction. Trying to get that anger at Trump so you can then parlay it and spread it to other candidates, Republicans specifically, and nobody cares. But keep going with it. Ride it off that cliff, and we're gonna ride a red wave into November. So thank you, everybody. God bless. Have a great week. I'm signing off, and I'm excited about the election, and I think it's going to be pretty good, unless you're a Democrat. Bye, everybody. Have a great day. It's like the Naked Gun episode. All right, I'm going to cut out. I think my producer Mark is multitasking, but if you haven't seen it, again, this is unrelated. Naked Gun, my favorite endings of all time are the Naked Gun endings where, like, they go, all right, Frank, I'll see you. See Frank Drebin. See you next week. And it goes da 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 da, and then like all this craziness is going while they're just pretending to not be moving. All right, I'm going to see myself out. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.